gonna actually put pictures of the house because my dad has been sending me after every work day. He gets really excited of like the progress, and he sends me photos of the updated status of the house. So I'll put in here a few photos that he's been sending me. But it went from like, do you remember I was, you know, in New England not that long ago, and there was nothing. There wasn't even cement yet, I don't think. It was just like the leveled area that was waiting for the cement. And then they put the cement in, the cement flooring and the radiant heating after I left. So anyways, I'll share with you how the structure is going. My dad is super happy, so he just barely texted me, that's what I'm telling you. But okay, so this week, honestly don't have like too many profound things to tell you, but I did have a lot of like ups and downs with like my body, and I like to share the things about my body even though they're probably like annoying for you to like listen to, because I'm not super unique in my experience. Other people are going to have this problem, and I've gone to the doctors, I've gotten a few solutions, so I want to share with you that possibility if it might help you. So that's why I share it with you, not because I really need you to know my medical stuff. So do you remember, I think it was like the end of April, I started noticing I had an arm that was asleep, and I thought it would just kind of like go away, but it never did. It got better when I used the Theragun. Right behind my shoulder, it's very tight, and I originally thought that it was because I wore bras that had like thin straps and like crisscrossed in the back, because like where it hurts is like where it would like lay, like the crisscrossy straps would like lay on my back. But I actually went to the doctors again. I had like a follow-up already scheduled, but coincidentally a week before, like about a week ago from now, basically after the last time I talked with you, my symptoms got so much worse, you guys. I like literally thought I was dying, and like I'm quite the Googler when it comes to like, you know, the symptoms of things, and that is not always the best thing to do for yourself if you are prone to anxiety, because everything points to cancer or you're gonna die. Like that's just what the internet tells you. But I was convinced that I had some sort of like nerve damage, and it was like, you know, I hadn't been treating it, and like I guess nerves and nerve damage is kind of time sensitive. I mean, you have a little bit of time to like get it kind of sorted out, but eventually I think according to the internet, your nerves can die. So it's like, oh my god, I don't want permanent nerve damage in my body, because it was very painful. I couldn't sit. Like right now doing what I'm doing, like sitting on the floor, like just the floor, no. Couldn't sit on the couch, couldn't lay in my bed, couldn't sit on the porch and enjoy like my porch ambiance as it was getting colder at night, to just like relax out on my patio. Couldn't do anything comfortably. And I'd never had this before, because like I don't really experience a lot of stuff like that. So I don't know if you guys have experienced like a pinched nerve or some sort of thing that has to do with like your neck and your, you know, all that kind of stuff. But it got real bad. At the same time that it was getting really bad, it was really rainy outside, so I wasn't going for my normal walks, and it was super hot. It's been like 100 here, and so I don't really take the heat very well, so I was staying inside a lot, and I was doing a lot of my work. Like right now has been a really big push to build out my other businesses. I have some exciting updates about my reselling, which I'll get into after I tell you my little story. But anyways, I had been combining a lot of stuff that was just creating my own perfect storm for like how my body was dealing with things. I was sitting for way too long and not going for walks because of the various reasons I just told you. And I was getting kind of just like in the grind and just kind of very focused, but also very mentally tired. And so I didn't feel like going outside in like the heat for an hour to like move my body. So I was not exercising, I was staying inside and I was sitting on improper things to sit on. For whatever reason, I'd like washed this thing on my couch, like the cover on my cushion, and I didn't put my cushion cover back on the couch properly. And so I had the feathers on the top of the cushion instead of on the bottom. And so it wasn't supported when I was sitting. And so like I really had like no place that was like very supportive to like sit in my whole entire apartment. My couch, I like recently fixed this. So like the foam is on top and the feathers are on the bottom. And now it's proper. But I, you know, had like 2 or 3 months where it was not proper. And I'm sure that that didn't really help my situation. Plus, I was just like hunched over my computer like this for like a long time. I sit in my bed with like 1,000 pillows, like not 1,000, but at least 6. And sometimes I fall asleep with that pillow pile and all of that. And like the stress of just like sitting and like posturing like incorrectly for like, you know, days on end. I'm sure that it took like more time than just however long I've been having symptoms to like develop this problem that I actually do have. But I went to the doctors, and I was laying in bed at night previously before I went to the doctors. I'd given up using my Theragun, and cause like I didn't think that anything worked. I didn't think that there was like any hope. I was like fully convinced that things were completely effed. And I was having like nerve damage, and it was just so bad. Like I had no, it was just getting worse and worse and worse, but like progressively worse in the span of like 1 week. I couldn't feel, when I drove my car, I couldn't feel my legs because they were like mostly asleep. Like I could like, you know, drive correctly, but it was like very uncomfortable. It was like falling asleep and like very numb. I couldn't feel my orgasms that much, which you don't really need to know about, but like that was what I was like dealing with. I was not sensing pain correctly. I had pins and needles throughout my entire body, my legs and my arms, when I went to sleep, and there was like no reprieve. And I was like, oh my God, what is going on? And like I wake up paralyzed. I was like, oh my God, this is terrible. I had no idea what the problem was, but it was like, it went from like, okay, this arm is asleep and it doesn't feel that comfortable, and I have like a sore spot in the back of my like shoulder blade, to like this kind of intense pins and needles burning, and it was just horrible. And again, I never like dealt with this before, and so I don't really know what to do. But thankfully I had my PCP appointment that was coming up like about a couple of days after I had those major symptom changes. And it would help me to like make a list of like all the things that I was feeling, so that I wouldn't forget to like tell the doctor, because like any little thing, I feel like they're experts at putting the pieces of the puzzle together. So like I felt like no little piece of the puzzle should be kept from him if I could tell him. So I told him all of my things. I like in the morning, this is how I like handled my distress about it. I would stop Googling, because that equals, you know, I'm pretty much gonna die. And I stopped that, and I was just like, okay, just wait until you tell your doctor, and they'll just kind of, you know, help you. And then I would force myself to like go out for walks in the morning when it was super cool, like when I had enough energy and stuff to just do that. That I had some improvement of my symptoms just by moving my entire body. I started taking a little bit of ibuprofen. I hadn't been doing that because I wear the Invisalign, and your teeth don't move that much when you take ibuprofen, apparently. And so I've been avoiding that ever since I had my Invisalign. But I was like, okay, back problems, can't feel your body, or straight teeth, Michelle. Get your priorities situated. So I took some ibuprofen, a little bit every day, and that seemed to like help my inflammation. But anyways, other symptoms were I couldn't smell candles at all. My taste and smell had like really gone downhill, And I don't know if this was a symptom that was related, but around the same time that all of my symptoms for my problem were getting really bad, I noticed that I'd burn a candle and I couldn't even tell that it was still lit. I had no idea, which is bad. And I couldn't feel sensations like I told you as far as orgasm, and I couldn't tell that the water was too hot in my shower. The only reason I know that is because when I had people over, they'd like turn it down, or they'd like mention that it was like way too hot, and I didn't even notice at all. Several different people told me that. So yeah, sometimes I couldn't tell if I was hungry or thirsty. Like I wouldn't get the normal cues that I was tired. Like something was really not right. Yeah, so that was not great. So the walks helped. Even though I was in a lot of pain, the walks helped. And like nerve pain is really weird. It's not like an ache of like a headache or something. It's like just bothersome, and it's like never unending. So yeah, it was like uncomfortable for a while. And then so I went for a couple of walks, like 2-3 days before my doctor's appointment, and then my doctor's appointment was there, and he looked at my body and he asked me about my symptoms, and then he said that he was going to order an x-ray of my cervical spine, which I guess is like the top part of your neck, and he told me I should do some PT, and which I haven't done yet because I don't really know how to schedule it, but I'll figure that out. But he said that that might help for them to like massage it out and help me kind of get back to working order. And he actually helped me find 2 different points on my body that I didn't even know I had pain. Mostly I just thought that I had pain here in my neck, but in my lower back on both sides of my hips, very, very, very painful there too. So with that combined, I felt like I had a plan. I felt like someone was listening, and I felt like there was steps to be taken. And I'd done like the Theragun, I'd re-upped, I'd like self-care totally during this week of my life. And I was just trying anything that would help me, because I really didn't want to be paralyzed, and I really didn't want to be like, you know, immobile. It was making me immobile, and it was making my life really crappy because I couldn't even sit comfortably. So I was using the Theragun at night, and I started doing that 3 times a day again. And after I had my appointment, I used the Theragun on those 2 little spots on my hips, and like the leg kind of sensations were more manageable at that point. And my neck and my shoulder is less annoying. I can like move. I have like range of mobility now, and it's not as bad. It's still a little painful, but it's not as bad as it was. So that really, really honestly does help. It's totally worth the $160 or whatever that you have to pay for that stupid little machine. But if you have this problem, really does help. Use it 3 times a day properly, and it's amazing. The acupressure mat I still use. So I'm gonna talk to you guys about this in a moment. It's just kind of sitting there chilling. So I had originally had my appointment for my PCP and all of my symptoms of my nerve problem in the afternoon, so that when he ordered my x-ray, I couldn't go to the doctors. That it was in a different building, it was a different hospital that I had to go to, and they were done doing x-rays for the day. And so I could go at any point in time now that the orders were put in to like go get it. And so I decided the very next day to go get it. I wanted like answers right away and to like work on things. So I went back. It's like always like a little bit of a drive, because I don't know if I told you this, you don't really care, but everything that I've been doing for my body is very specifically, weirdly out of a normal driving range. When I got my dentist, I have to drive an hour to like the place that I go to, because all of the places here locally were all clogged up when I needed them. So I specifically chose this doctor, and it's kind of a drive too. It's not local. And it's just kind of funny how like all of my life is like set up like I chose this because of the convenience of getting appointments, not for the convenience of driving there. It was like my health would be looked at sooner than the amount of time in the car, so I didn't really care. But when I was making my initial appointments, everything was booked up where I lived, so I had to push it out and push it out. But anyways, this plays into like my next story, is why I'm laying this out for you in a very long-winded way, as we normally do here. So I went back, I drove back the 40 minutes or whatever to get to the place, the hospital, and I got my x-rays done. It was really weird. I'd never had like I'd have an MRI on my boobs before, and I'd had an x-ray on my finger before, but I'd never had like an x-ray of my neck. It's like a creepy little room. You just kind of like stand there, and they like position you like a million times to like get specific photos. But anyways, my results came back really soon. And I was like, oh my God, please don't have a tumor. Please don't have a tumor. You know what I mean? Like, that was like worst case scenario. I didn't have a tumor. They found arthritis and they found bone spurs, but they also found that my neck is straightened, and it's not supposed to be straightened. Everybody's neck that is healthy is supposed to have somewhat of a curve to it. And my neck is straight. I'll show you what my neck looks like compared to like somebody else's neck. You can tell which one is mine. It's like the one that's straight. It's really weird actually to see your skeleton as you're like still a living human. It's like, it reminds you of your mortality. I don't know, it reminded me of that when I saw it. I was like, ew. I don't know. It's like off-putting, but it's kind of interesting at the same time. It's like, that's what my insides look like. Anyways, they determined that I have a straightening of my spine, and because of that, it puts pressure to like hold up my head. Puts pressure to hold up my head on both sides, my muscles on both sides of my neck, which is why they're tight. And so now I have a reason. I didn't make this up. And it's like the pressure is building really badly, and after I relaxed those muscles with the Theragun, my nerve symptoms were kind of fixing a little bit. They're still kind of there, but they're not as bad as like I can't sit down. So I need to keep doing what I'm doing on my own until I get kind of help from professionals. So this brings me to my little purchases of the week here. So I initially thought, before I got my x-ray and saw that my neck is straight when it's not supposed to be, I thought that maybe my posture was really bad, or I don't know. Maybe I just had like some sort of compressing of the spine. I had no idea. I'm not a spine doctor. I just knew that it hurt pretty bad. So I got this, like I'm 80 years old, and I sit on this and I do my work. It's from Cushion Lab. I don't know, I got it on Amazon, doesn't really matter. I just got the one that looked like it was the most ergonomical, whatever that word is. And so I used that last night, and I could sit for long periods of time and do my work and commit to my goals. Like, this whole thing really sucks because it was like, I can't do my life. I can't, like, if I was gonna have like a sex date or whatever, like I would have had to cancel it, honestly. Like, I would have just been like, sorry, can't even move my body. Can't feel more orgasms. Like, this is not good. I was really sad because I was just getting to the part where like it was starting to be enjoyable with the people that I'd chosen, right? And I was like, if I can't even feel it, what the actual hell? This is bad. I need to like work on my body. I need to like put my body's health at the top priority. And like, yeah, it's nice that I'm building out these things, but like, oh my God, at what cost? So I really started to pay attention to like how I treat my body while it's at rest. there's like a lot of different cervical pillows that you can get, and I looked into specifically what my doctor said was my problem. I like put those words into Google and I was like, best pillow for this situation, how to get the curve back in your neck. And so I'm gonna try this. It wasn't that expensive and there was a lot of good reviews about it. And so basically this is just a little foam roll, and you use like a feather pillow. You don't use like a memory foam pillow or something like that. It has to be kind of like soft. You use like your own pillow, and I think you either put this inside or outside, and you like your pillowcase, and then this little hump right here is where your neck lays on as you sleep. So like it goes like that. So like your neck would like lay over like that. But anyways, yeah, like this. You can see that little lady. So apparently, that just came this morning, so I haven't used that yet, so I don't know. But apparently over time that fixes the curve in your neck if you have a straightened neck like mine. And apparently it helps with the pain during the process too. So I was like, great. Like, try anything. I don't know how I got here, but I'm going to try to do everything possible to fix it. It's like really like listening to your body. It's like, I know something's not right. And it was so validating to see like in my x-ray, like something was like not right. It would have been kind of sad for me if there was like, nope, your neck is perfect. It's like, why is this happening? So I've got some things to work on now. So basically what I tell you that is, number one, this is the process of me finding out what the problems were. That's why I shared my symptoms with you, but also like how I go about fixing it. Again, what I experience might not be what you experience, but I do like to share it just in case it could help you. So the reason why I told you about the specific day on going to the doctor's, I elected to go the next day, even though I could have gone whatever day, was because I found something at the thrift store that if I hadn't gone that day, I would never have found it. And it was like just so serendipitous. So I wanted to tell you the little story about everything that like led up to it. So like there's luck and there's opportunity, but there's also like positioning yourself to go find that luck. So I kind of wanted to share with you that story. So I wanted to get my results in faster so that I could help myself faster, but also I was trying to make my mileage, because it's not close like I just told you. It's always kind of like a little bit of a chore to like get there, and so I like to make my trips halfway business and halfway personal, especially if I have to drive kind of a bit. So I was looking after my x-rays, I was looking on Google Maps like where a thrift store was, and it brought me to this Goodwill, and I drove to the Goodwill. It wasn't that far. And I was like, oh good, I can just go there and get a few things and then kind of go back home. So I went to the thrift store and I pull in and I realized that it's a place that I've been, and I went there months ago, and I realized that it was like not good. It was not the inventory that I was looking for. It was like just not, you know, anything that was too great. Plus it was like way too much stuff to look through for like not a good return on your time. So I immediately just like pulled into the parking lot, and then I didn't even get out of my car. I put in this other thrift store that I remembered going to a couple of times. I'd found like a couple good things there. So I drove to that one specifically. It was out of the way, but it was on the way home. So I immediately went into the t-shirt section. But if you're a reseller, you'll know that that's kind of stupid, because you're not gonna sell a t-shirt for as much money as you're gonna sell a sweater or a coat or a pair of pants or something. Like, it's not a very good bang for your buck to go look through t-shirts. That's kind of like the area of a thrift store that you go to when you are kind of done looking everywhere else. Like if you have tons of time, your priorities are maybe t-shirts and tank tops last, right? Because you never know what kind of gems are like shoved there just by somebody else. So I never start with t-shirts, but this time I started with a t-shirt because I recognized a specific brand tag from like the moment I walked into the door, and I saw it. It was a James Purse t-shirt, and that was always a good brand that I sold. I didn't actually end up getting that t-shirt, funnily enough, but that was the thing that like drew me to that section first, even though that's not my instincts to go there. But it was my instinct to follow, oh, okay, this section might have other better brands. And so once I find something that's kind of a keeper, I will look to see if there's any more stuff. So anyways, that's kind of how I do things. But it was my instinct to go pick that store, and it was my instinct to go on that day. And I let my experience kind of handle the rest. And so I get to the end of the row and there's like nothing, and all of a sudden I look up and there's never any good shoes at any of these thrift stores that are in my area. They must sell them online, and they never put like the good shoes in the store. It's always like brand X shoes, like literally brands that I never even heard of, like just China brands, like off-brand Nikes, like just weird stuff like that, generic things. It's never good stuff. So I'm not trained to go look at the shoes at any of these stores that are like around in my local area. All of them kind of got the memo that shoes can be better sold on their website, especially the Goodwills. So I've already like learned that. I've been here about a year now, which we can talk about too, but I've been here about a year, and I've kind of noticed that the shoes are always crappy, which is kind of weird because I look up and I notice the toggles on these pair of boots, and they look like Hermes. They look like what's on a Birkin, the little toggle that's on a Birkin. And I was like, oh, those must be super fake. And I just kind of like, you know, went past them a little bit, and then I got to the end of the row, and then I kind of look up again, but I noticed something different about the boots, and I decided to pick them up just because. So they're just like on the top of the shelf. There's like the racks, and they're on the top of the shelf, above like where the racks of t-shirts, nonetheless, t-shirts are. And so I'm looking, and I noticed that they look kind of nicer, and the leather looks nice, and it doesn't look super fake. Like, you can spot fake leather and fake everything from like a mile away sometimes, but like they were nicely shaped, and I just kept looking at the toggles, and then I noticed that the toggle said Hermes, and then I was like, so I picked them up, and I look on the bottom, and they look nice. They're well stamped, and they're well worn, indicating that, you know, sometimes when they're fake things, people will donate them in pristine condition because they never really wore them, because they probably weren't good quality to begin with. So like that's kind of like a giveaway that sometimes things are, if they're not used up, like totally used up beyond repair, they're most likely fake. Like they're in a designer item, but like pristine, maybe it's not the real thing, because who's gonna donate something that's super pristine that they spent tons of money on? That doesn't make sense. You have to put the context clues together. So I was putting the context clues together, and the soles were all kind of scuffed up. Somebody had definitely worn them, and I turned the little toggle of the clasp, and it was really nice. It was really smooth. And I noticed that they had stickers on the hardware, and I didn't think that you would put stickers on hardware for fake boots. And I was like, interesting. So I like turned it over. It's like $24.99, and I was like, well, if they're fake Hermes, like it's only $25 to see if these are fake or not. It's like not the end of the world. I can't return them to this particular Goodwill, but it's like kind of like a good ROI if I spend a little bit of money authenticating it. And my little quick research that I did in the store indicated that these might be real, and I got kind of excited. It was like the first thing that I found in this entire store, and I was like, oh, okay, like I'm gonna save my excitement, but I was like, oh, okay. I text my dad, I was like, I might have found my first Hermes thing ever in this weird random hole in the wall Goodwill that literally has nothing else in the store that I could buy that was great. Like I went through a whole bunch of stuff, and I just came out with those boots and like a couple of things for me. But I looked for hours after I found those boots. So I was like, maybe there's more hidden gems. And it was so funny because when you first walk in, they have like crappy Michael Kors used up purses in like the case, like the case at the register. And it's like, I wonder what else like falls through the cracks there. So anyways, I did 2 or 3 things that like were very strange that day. I didn't go to the original Goodwill that I wanted to, and I decided that just because I was conveniently located to this Goodwill, that it wasn't good use of my actual time if I wanted to like make my goal of like finding something that was worth selling. Like, it's not just, I'm not just trying to buy something to like write it off on my taxes. Like, I actually want to find something that's good. And so I changed my mind about where to go, and then I let my instincts and my like experience with different brands like lead me to where I was going to go into that store. And I would have never ever looked there ever, and I would have never looked at the boots. I would have never looked in the t-shirt row. That's like the last section, like I told you, that I would normally ever look at, because it just doesn't, it's not worth it. Like, what are you gonna find? Like, the possibilities of finding something that is actually worth money in the t-shirt section, really low, from like my years of doing this. And so it was just all weird that I chose to like do this, but like little breadcrumbs of like, I remembered the other Goodwill. I knew that James Purse t-shirt brand that led me to that row, you know? So I put the boots in my cart and I checked out. And then I went on Real Authentication and I sent them a bunch of pictures, and within 24 hours they said that it was authentic. These are the Saint Germain ankle boots, and this is the toggle that I was telling you about. Like, it turns so smooth, it's so nice. I have autofocus kind of like locked up, so I can't really show you, but the little sticker is on there. Everything checked out. So the thing about why they were donated, I don't know if you can see on the heel right here, there is a big scuff in the leather, and the core of the heel is exposed. And it's like this on this one too, like a little bit right there. So whoever paid literally $2,000 for these boots didn't take proper care of them and didn't get them fixed, but just donated them. I'm not sure why, but just did that. And so I'm going to, for a tiny bit of time, try to sell it as is without investing any more money into it. And I'm going to, if they don't sell within that amount of time, I've already contacted a mail-in luxury cobbler kind of place that's out of New Jersey. And they quoted me like about $160 to fix the heels on both of them, to like repair the leather. I also contacted Hermes to see if they could spa the boots, and I don't really know how much spaing is for these, but I didn't want to sink too much money into them so I could still profit. Like, there's a lot of profit already when I only paid $24 basically to buy them, and then to authenticate it is $40. But anyways, I was trying to manage my costs, and then if I could just sell it as is but give people the information that I learned, then good. But I learned from Hermes that I would have to go to an actual boutique, and the nearest one is 5 hours away. So, and then they would give me like an estimate and stuff on how much it cost. And so basically, if you bought these, if you were a customer, I think, from Hermes, and you bought these, I think that you should continuously use their in-house services to not like nullify the warranty and stuff like that, like to keep their products kind of good. Because I bought this at a thrift store, I want to just fix it up good enough so that somebody can enjoy it. They're not gonna have, because they bought it from the secondhand market, they're not gonna have that trail of authentically buying it from Hermes to begin with, like direct trail. So it's already kind of muddy from the secondhand market So the warranty wouldn't be warranted anyways, because it's not from them. So this I don't think really matters. Maybe if you're like an expert in this, you can kind of correct me, but I think it's okay to like bring it to a cobbler and have them kind of take off the original leather and put on their own leather. It's not like they're messing with the hardware or anything, so that would be kind of not great, but they're just kind of going to replace the messed up leather, which is kind of a generic part of something, in my opinion. So yeah, so that is the story of how I accidentally, but intuition wise and on purpose, kind of led myself to finding the single best thing I've ever found in my life. Like I found other good scores recently, but there were many pieces. I bought like a brand new with tags career woman's wardrobe for like $100, and like just one shirt retails for like $350. I'm never going to be able to like flip it for anywhere near like $100, that one shirt, but just like the retail that I got for that $100, and I bought like 20 pieces, and it was all like business career stuff mixed in with like blazers and tweed blazers and jackets and stuff like that, like so higher end pieces from like a pretty luxurious old kind of grandma brand. Good nonetheless, new with tags. That was a great score. That was like my last score from this one where I found the Hermes boots. But anyways, that is the story of how things can fall into place by choice and by luck. Which I just barely told you about my cricket story. Didn't I tell you about my cricket story? So it's kind of wild that like the week after the cricket shows up in my house, I get like the biggest score of my life. I took a chance on these boots and they ended up authentic. So anyways, that is exciting for myself. But this behind me is a bunch of products that I had been using. One of you guys asked me in the comments if I could share with you my favorites that I've been using on my face because you like my makeup in the video that I talk about my sex life revamping. So I use this. This is La Roche-Posay Lipicare AP. This is for extra dry skin on your face and your body. So I use it on my legs after I shave because there's a lot, and it's not too expensive. I like this specifically because I'm using tretinoin. I would normally never use this type of moisturizer on my face ever. I don't tend to have dry skin, but since I'm using the tretinoin and I need to fix my skin barrier all the time from it, I've been using this for 6 months. So I put this on and I let this sink into my skin, and then I use this. It's Shiseido Synchro Skin Radiant Lifting Foundation. It has technology. I don't know if you can see that. I'm not trying to get too close in because I have auto lock on my camera so that it doesn't use that clicking noise the entire time, but it also means that I can't like go in and then it focuses. It's already focused way back here. This is the foundation. I got it in the shade Porcelain and it's perfect. When you're fair skin like I am, it's really difficult to find, from my kind of skin tone, it's really difficult to find a foundation that's not too pink and it's not too yellow. This is kind of like neutral area and it's really great. It matches really nicely. So this is again the Shiseido one. It's the Synchro Skin Radiant Lifting. I don't even know if they make this anymore. I randomly found it to buy on Macari one time when I was looking around for new foundations. But I like the idea behind it because it said that it renews its kind of luminosity throughout the day. It doesn't stay I don't know, it doesn't just like live on your face and then does nothing. It does, there's something in it that it will like renew. That's a bad way of explaining what it does, but basically it makes my skin very luminous if you like that look. And I didn't think that I liked that look, but ever since I've used the tretinoin, when I use kind of normal foundations or matte foundations, it looks really bad on places that are dry. And so I try to just roll with the greasiness that the lotion makes, and this foundation makes it look greasy and kind of shiny. Not greasy, but like you can pat it down and powder it and stuff and it looks nice. But like my T-zone, I always use powder on, like the La Mercier translucent powder. I like put a little puff there. But like the rest of my cheeks and stuff, that's the combination of this first and then this. And then I use cream products. I just use cream contour, Anastasia Beverly Hills cream contour products that I've used forever. I finally get to use this. This is my Chanel Tan de Soleil. It's the new formula. It's not the old original formula, but I find that it's kind of orange, and so it's not a contour. It's definitely more of a color that you use to bronze. Definitely not a contour. Like, this is too orange for a contour. So I put it above the contour where you would put bronzer. And then I always kind of seal that all in with my original. This is like one of the first nice things that I got myself way back in the day when I first started using makeup. But like, don't judge, okay? It's like, you know, one of my nicer things. So I still have my original Dior Amber Diamond highlighter, and so I just seal everything up with a little brush of the highlighter, and I still have its original little pouch. And that is the combination that gives me this skin look. But anyways, I have been liking this combination of things, so I have been enjoying what I've been doing. I've just been working a lot, so it's very similar to the grind that I had when I was living in my previous place, but it's different because I'm trying to grind towards different goals this time. And I think this is how my life is always going to be. It's always going to be, I have ambitions, and then I'm going to have to work a little bit harder than how my skills are at right now to gain those skills, to get to where I want to be for my ambition and my goal. It like makes sense that I'll always be in discomfort, because if I didn't have ambitions imply that it's beyond what you're capable of doing kind of now. It implies that it's like a step above. If you're reaching for an ambition, it's like, it implies that you have to do something to acquire the skills or acquire the resources or to acquire to something. You have to get to that level. And so there's discomfort in that process of getting to that level. So I'm kind of radically accepting that this is my life. If I'm going to be an ambitious person, I have to accept the fact that it's going to be always an unknown. I don't know if it's going to work out. There's no guarantee that it's going to be successful, but with risk comes reward, but also with risk comes stress. And so these little things that I'm doing now are like, this is teaching me how to normalize being ambitious to myself, like to normalize the internal process of like, this is just acceptance of, okay, just get better at managing your stress, Michelle. You have to get better at managing the stress of how it rests in your body, hence all of these things that I talked about with you. It's not that I just want to talk about them to like share, like, ooh, this happened to me. It's part of the overall process of like literally going after what you want, because there's weird bumps along the way. You wouldn't think that your body would be kind of a hindrance in this process, but my body really is a hindrance because it carried like stress and tension. Weird, because I didn't know to anticipate that that was going to happen, and I didn't know as a 39-year-old woman that I was susceptible to what I thought was kind of, you know, for old people, like to take better care of my body even if it's just at rest. And like all of these things are in alignment with carrying out the best possible, shortest amount of time to work on to get to my goal. Like I could drag this out for like 10 years and I could just get to one goal, right? But if I just optimize the way that I deal with my stress mentally, the way that I deal with my stress carried in my body, the way that I sleep at night, like all of these things can be optimized so that I can actually achieve more and I could actually get to where I want to go. I once watched a Chris Fix-It video, and he does do-it-yourself car tutorials, and I loved his channel, I don't know, a couple of years ago. I still like it, but I don't think he's posted very much, but I haven't actually looked. But he said something in one video, and it was like kind of like a light bulb moment for me, because it applied to almost everything. He kind of said there's trade-offs, and I'm paraphrasing because I kind of don't remember, but he like made this triangle diagram, and he said you can have a fast car, but it's not going to be cheap, and it maybe not be like reliable, but it's going to be fast. So these are things within this system that are truths. They're things that you give up for this one thing that you want. On the opposite, you can want a classic car that is just very reliable, but it's not going to be sexy and it's not going to get the girls, right? It's like there's trade-offs that you can have in this triangle. And there are trade-offs of my path right now, my ambitious path. It's going to be stressful, but you're going to get to where you want to go, and it's going to feel fulfilling along the way. And you're going to feel alive every day because you're working towards something that you yourself picked. And that's kind of intriguing, even if you fail. So there's fulfillment, but it comes at a cost of like, you have to manage your stress that comes with it. And the stress that comes with it can be really intense and it can manifest in different ways. But it also kind of puts you at like this weird place with people. You might not be able to give your whole self to people because you're too busy being ambitious, right? There's like this interesting triangle for every single thing that you've prioritized or chosen. And it's just like this radical acceptance of like the things that are kind of the context clues of what your choice is made up of. And at any point you can decide that the bad parts of the triangle no longer are things that you want to pursue for the peak thing. Does that make any sense? At any point in time, I can just be like, well, I don't want to be ambitious anymore. Like maybe being stable is more important in my life than being ambitious because I've achieved all the things that I want to achieve. And I don't get that like great feeling of achievement anymore because I've already done certain things that made me really proud. Maybe I will prioritize different types of things that I would put at the peak of my triangle next, and then I would have a new triangle to understand where my shift in things go. But for right now, this is how I think of myself. It's like for this coming year, my goal is to still be working towards a very ambitious end goal, and it requires a lot from me. And it's like, how do I actually break down this ambitious goal, this like nebulous thing, but actually make it practical? And so I can't really talk to you about the things that I'm doing because I want to keep that private to myself. But it's like, it's just like the building of this thing by doing actions towards this every single day. And I fail at them and I have little small wins at them. So that just carries me along this path. And maybe someday I'll talk about it, but for right now I have the goal of being ambitious, but also being kind of like fulfilled mentally and physically, but also working on making my mental and physical health better. And that's what my videos are all about. And so I guess this is always a long-winded way of kind of telling you my underlying thing of why I'm telling you this, but just know that I do have a plan, and it's like cohesive in my mind. But the things and bits that I share with you are pieces to that plan. You might not understand the greater, like, puzzle that I'm working towards because I just share with you the pieces. But I understand it, and that's kind of like all that matters. Looking back, it's going to be kind of clear, but as I'm doing it, as I'm kind of in the moment doing it, it's not probably clear to you as a viewer, and I understand that. But just know that I am purposeful, even in these little times where I am just kind of sharing with you my things. So thank you for listening. I hope that you are working on your goals, and if you have a straight neck like I do, let me know what you did to have it get fixed. Did the Mackenzie pillow work for you? Did PT work for you? Let me know. I hope my boots sell on the first go around, and so I don't have to send them into that place. But once I do get them back from that place, I will kind of give you an update on how they look if I do end up going that route and getting them kind of all sorted. I'm still gonna use my tretinoin. I'm still gonna use this thing on the daily basis now on my chair as I work away on my goals. So I'm sorry I can't share with you my wins and losses on my project that I'm keeping private, but it's going. It's interesting. So anyways, thank you for listening, and I will see you guys in my next video. Take care. Have a great weekend.